think it's easy for us to say that, man, he owes it to the game to do this, and this.
He doesn't owe the game.
I don't think he owes anything. Mr. Elliott Wilson. Rap Radar's Elliott Wilson.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to Lone toss this one there. I got this one. So I feel like Elliott Wilson might have been in his feelings. When he just a tad, he may have been in his feelings when he posted. There's a CBS interview with 3 Stacks. You know, he making his rounds. Mm-hmm. There's a screenshot of him being interviewed, and Elliott Wilson tweets, "Hip hop journalism." Now, I took that as, and Lone alluded to it in Discord, man might be in his feelings because Dre is not making his rounds to hip hop locations, Breakfast Club, Nori, and FN, and
same thing
Gilly,
we pretty much talked about with Kendrick and Tyler,
right, when we talked about Cole and what.
Yeah.
So does 3 Stacks owe us interviews from a hip hop standpoint?
This isn't a hip hop project.
Thank you. Thank you.
If from one angle, right, when we think back to Tyler, when he spoke out about the Grammys and him being in the hip hop category and him winning stuff when he wasn't necessarily doing hip hop, it should go both ways, right? Mm-hmm. So if Andre is not putting out a hip hop project, surely black people can make more music than just hip hop, right?
This is true.
Absolutely.
So I don't know. I mean, I guess there's definitely the argument that he's a staple of hip hop, right? You can make that argument and he should come and talk, but he didn't drop a hip hop album.
He didn't.
At all. It's not even close.
Thank you.
I would much rather hear a Andre 3000 interview on NPR at this point in time.
I would too. I mean, I think that would be interesting because they talk soft too, and it's like,
introspective.
So on track.
What'd you say, Long?
It's like a quiet storm.
What was your actual inspiration when you miss so many notes in a row?
And then you know what? They'll actually have the flute playing in the background.
Jay, don't do that.
Yeah.
I don't think you hit the nail on the head, Long. That's you.
That's just where my mind went when I saw him say that. It seemed like he was in his feelings a little bit because I understand the aspect of wanting to push major hip hop faces to come to hip hop media so that hip hop media gets just as much shine as, let's say, the major corporate interests in that manner.
Let's not be foolish. Hip hop benefits if Dre does the tour that we're talking about.
For sure.
Right. We know that, right?
But he's also going to get a bunch of questions, way more questions he probably wants to deal with
that have nothing to do with this album.
And just about like, so you got any raps? You know, like,
he probably doesn't want to.
I know you ready to rap, man. I know you got something tucked away.
Exactly.
So on Wheels of Steel, remember when you said no?
I don't want to. He clearly doesn't want to talk about that.
And this is the thing. You're under the assumption that Andre 3000 has any idea what Rap Radar, what's going on as far as the Joe Budden. You understand, Andre may not even know who these people are. It sounds crazy, but he's been literally on this flute journey, on some Legend of Zelda-ish for years now. He's not paying any, there are certain people who all they do is pay attention to what's going on, if you will. We do it to a certain extent because sometimes it comes up and we have to talk about it.
Right.
But Andre 3000, he liked to go to the laundromats and walk through the forest and play. He is not getting on to these platforms.
You know what though?
Every day to wonder, hey, what are they talking about? Wonder what's going on with the YSL trial. He doesn't care.
I do believe that.
He openly says that I'm not hip.
Yeah.
So does he have a responsibility to hip hop?
He's fulfilled his responsibility.
Yes, exactly.
He's gone above and beyond his responsibility to hip hop.
Yeah, but because that, to me, that's the only argument you can have here.
He's fulfilled his responsibility.
That's the only argument. Elliott Wilson, who, I mean, granted, he just said 3 words, right? Yeah. But at the same time, that's
the only... that meant.
Yeah, for sure. We all know what that meant. But that's the only potential argument is he's not doing enough to bring hip hop up that he could be doing. Isn't that
coming from a selfish place when you say he isn't doing enough or doing his due diligence or what he owes the culture of hip hop that's quote unquote that he's done so well in?
Well,
I think we want that. Sometimes we want that. I'm using myself as a fan now. I'm not talking about being a publication. I think it's easy for us to say that, man, he owes it to the game to do this, and this.
He doesn't owe the game.
I don't think he owes anything.
Sometimes people will say, well, he has the privilege to not have to go that route. And sometimes they will use that saying of because he has that privilege to bring him
as
down.
argument.
Privilege isn't always a bad thing.
I mean, he has the privilege of being Andre 3000 because he made Andre 3000.
Exactly. I mean, he's literally paid his dues, so to speak. I mean,
nobody
got a song called "Paid My Dues" with 8Ball MJG.
Yep.
I mean, they did this long time ago. There's nothing else that needs to be done. Either it be Andre Benjamin or Big Boy. It doesn't. No, they don't owe the game nothing.
And in my mind, there's always a play on the back end in this content era. Yeah, the narrative is he owes hip hop. He may owe hip hop this or owe hip hop that, but come on, man. In the back of your mind, you thinking this will do well for my podcast or my whatever.
What about,
you know what I'm saying?
What about uplifting, or not even necessarily uplifting? What about just putting light on black entertainment media in that manner?
I mean, he sat down with Gayle King. He could have sat down with, I don't know who else is on CBS. I was going to say Charlie Rose, but he's been gone.
I think he did talk to...
And GQ is just definitely not a hip hop or cultural outlet.
I think we all have hit it on the head from a standpoint of the line of questioning. I don't see it being about his journey to get to where he is now and the project that he put out. I see ATLian's questions. I see, so where are the raps? I see, do you ever feel like rapping again? I see a lot of the stuff that he probably just does not want to deal with, because there's no way you can get Andre 3000 in front of you and not ask those questions. I don't care what album you put out.
Dre is essentially kind of the same type of person that rapper Big Pooh is, in a sense. He's just more eccentric as far as like my style and me kind of speaks to you, but I don't necessarily want to speak to you or be seen at these events. That's why their last tour for the 25th anniversary of their first album was a big deal, because he was like, this is my last time touring. I don't feel comfortable doing this.
Right.
But I feel like this I owe to y'all. And after I do this, I'm going to bow out. And that was it. So, I mean, we already knew where he was at with it, right?
Yeah.
And he came out every night in a jumper that had a different saying on the back.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because, I mean, he expresses himself in that way, in that manner, but he doesn't want to be around everybody like that.
Did you hear the story about Prince calling him after the first performance?
Yeah, I saw. Yeah.
So he said after the first performance on that tour you're talking about, Prince called him and was like, y'all don't understand how big y'all are.
I think they know.
Like y'all, but he's critiquing the show. Like y'all don't understand how big y'all are. Y'all are not taking this for what it really is.
Well, Andre also said that in that same interview that he wasn't maybe mentally prepared for what was going on. He was like, "Oh wow," he's like, "Well, we're using these headsets. I've never used this before." You know, like so.
Well, shout out to Stacks, man. You don't have to do anything for me.
But if you'd like to come and sit down with the
you
old
come
heads,
sit down with us now.
You know, we don't even do interviews, but if you want to come, we'll talk about flute music and
no, we won't.
Okay, all right, no, we won't.
Yeah, we will.
You can bring the flute.
Yeah, we will.
You can bring the flute.
We're gonna ask you questions.
Big boy, if you want to come down here and talk about owls, we'll get down with all that legend.
We're gonna ask the owls and Big Boy doing the lobster tails and all that. We're gonna ask about all that.